Welcome to the Purity for Life podcast, episode 135, Navigating Twists and Turns in Recovery. For more information on this podcast and other great content, visit purityforlife.me. Here we are. It's a beautiful day here in Vermont, Stowe, Vermont. Let me see. Here we go. There's a little river kind of walking past. It says some cool stuff there. A couple minutes about a little recovery thought with sexual purity and sexual recovery. As you guys can see right now, I'm going to twist the camera, flip the camera. Path. Actually, this is kind of forking off into two paths, but one main path. And I was thinking, as I was walking here with my family, they're way up ahead because I'm slow and trying to get Periscope working here, that recovery is a lot like a path, a lot like this path that I'm walking on, especially sexual recovery, sexual purity, simply because it's a long-term process. And this path is actually, I think it's about a mile and a half, and not super long, but our recovery is it's a long-term process, and it's full of twists and turns. You know, as we come up on this path, or come up here to this bend, there's a twist coming up here. There's lots of turns. I've got some logs coming up here that I'm gonna have to be careful not to break my arm on while I'm recording this. But that's what recovery is all about. And I think sometimes what happens, let's see if I can navigate this here without falling. That would be really good. No slips, Frank. You tell. Here we go. Here we go. But that's the way our recovery is. There's obstacles along the way, right? There's potholes. There's places that are rough. There are places that, you know, are unknown and we've never been to before. And I think what happens is sometimes we get frustrated. Let me twist back around here. Sometimes what happens is that we get frustrated. Some of us get frustrated in recovery because maybe we feel like we're not as far as we should be, or we're not covering a certain amount of ground in our recovery, or we're not accomplishing certain things. But the reality is that it takes time. Your recovery, the victories that you gain, the lessening of slips, of relapses, all those kinds of things. It takes time in recovery, and that's my greatest encouragement, I guess, to you. Is that it's a long-term process. It's a long-term process. Now let me just flip this around here again so you can see. We're at another little obstacle here, right? Very similar to recovery, where we have to slow down a little bit, right? We have to slow down along the way, take our time. It's not always easy, right? But it's the journey that's ahead of us. There you go. There's a friendly guy right there. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Sometimes we have to walk a little bit higher, right? There. So we're kind of just navigating the terrain. We're navigating. So that's really it. Nothing super deep, but I do want to encourage you, if you watch this and you are fresh into recovery, or maybe you're a year into your recovery journey, to not get frustrated, to not get down on yourself, to not beat yourself up, because there will be slips, right? Thank God I haven't slipped yet on this journey while I'm recording this, but there's going to be things that get in the way. Even though this rock right here isn't in the way of my path, you know, there's going to be things that happen, and just giving yourself enough grace to realize that, you know, sexual purity is not an overnight thing. It's not drive-through recovery. It's not drive-through purity. It's something that takes a long time. It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort to. So, be encouraged. Be encouraged. It's worth the journey, and this small little hike that we're on, this small little journey, it's worth it. It's about a mile and a half. Here's some, and this might be where I end the Periscope because that's a huge hole that I don't want to fall into. But there's a little bit of a river right there. Let's see if we can see if I can navigate and see if I can cross this very carefully without falling in. I did it, see? And that's the way it works. That's the way it works. Recovery is worth it. Sometimes you have to slow down a little bit, give yourself a little bit more grace, and realize that, you know, you can't compare yourself to anyone. That your situation, your story, your struggle is your own. And so, you know, it's just hard for us. There we go. It's hard for us as guys to want to slow down and to realize that we need to work hard at this thing. That sexual purity is worth it, but that it's a long-term journey. I'm about 6 years into my recovery from being sober, from being clean, from a sexual addiction to pornography. It's been a long road. It's been a long journey, but it's totally, totally worth it. And believe me, I'm still on the journey. Very significant. Another obstacle I'm crossing right here, a pipe. I'm still very much on this journey. There's still obstacles that get in the way. There's still distractions that occur. You know, thoughts, triggers, temptations sometimes that come. And I have to take my thoughts captive, right? I have to go to the Word. I have to remember my purity strategy, my recovery strategy. So it's totally worth it. And see, I want to show you something else here now while we're here. This journey right now, this path that I'm on, it's taking me uphill, right? And this is probably the highest ascent in the path so far that I've taken. Again, very similar to our recovery. There are going to be seasons where you're going to have to work extra hard because you're going uphill. It feels like you're swimming uphill, and there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of, you know, obstacles coming your way, but you've got to take your time and do it. It's totally worth it. And the cool thing about it, is that God gives us grace. God gives us patience and understanding. If our hearts are totally pure, our hearts are totally focused, not perfect, but if they're focused on becoming the man or woman that God wants us to be, then it's worth it. So, hope this day is finding. Now, see, here's a question. Hey! Here's a question, too. Before we close out the Periscope, I want to show you something. I came to a fork in the road. One way I can go to the left, right? And then I can go to the right. Where does the path go? So we're going to come up on these choices. We're going to come up on these turns where we either have to turn to the left or to the right. We have to make a choice of which way to go. And sometimes that can be a hard decision to make. So I thank God for this illustration that he kind of gave me as I was walking with my wife. I said, hey, this might be a really great time to do a real quick Periscope about purity, recovery, in how it's very much like a journey, a long-term journey that we take, and with lots of twists and turns and lots of obstacles in the way at times. Sometimes it's smooth, sometimes it's rocky, but it's totally worth it. So hope you guys are having a great week. I'm already out of breath. It's kind of sad. Overweight, old, and out of breath. But we're still, we're doing all right. So have a great week. If you go over to purityforlife.me, purityforlife.me is the website, and that's where you can find all the content for the podcast that I do. Head over there and enjoy that. Thanks to you four guys, 4 individuals who are logging into this Periscope. Hope it's encouraging to you. If it is, tap a few hearts before I close out the Periscope. That'd be very helpful. And if you have questions along the way, whenever I do these recordings, something that I can try to answer, help you with, or process through in your recovery, I'd love to be able to do that. So lots more, like I said, lots more resources and video content on the website at purityforlife.me. Hopefully I'm going to be catching up to my family here soon, because this is a pretty big, I'll give you guys one more shot. This hill is getting higher, but I'm liking it. Hey guys, love you so much. Thanks for being a part of this Periscope. Little mini podcast, episode 135, navigating the twists and turns in recovery. No real huge practical points today, I guess you could say, but just an encouraging word to stay focused and to do your best on your journey. Because there will be twists, there will be turns, there will be obstacles. And that's when you have to give yourself grace. That's when you have to realize that, you know what? I can do this. I might have to slow down a little bit. It might cause me to slow down a little bit. I might get tripped up sometimes. I haven't tripped yet on this one, but on this journey. But there will be struggles along the way. Guys, have a great week. We'll see you soon. God bless.